All right, this is your market recap for October 9th, 2025. As you can see today, we played a little bullish. We had this huge sell side wick today. It was created by market open, 8:30 market open, sorry, 9:30 market open. Um, it ran farther than I thought personally. Um, I remember yesterday saying that I wouldn't think price would come below here and that it would most likely play like that. But I forgot the government was a mess right now, and so of course we're not really going to expand. So look on the hourly time frame. Um, Here we are. Here's this high, and then here is yesterday's, not yesterday's, but the high that I thought we wouldn't come much lower than. This right here is a 4 hour. I'll take you to the 4 hour. 4 hour buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency high. So once we dipped into this, in my mind, I said, all right, we're good, right? Because it's what I was looking for. I didn't think we'd get much lower than that, so I was happy with that. Um, Over here, so first we had sell side SMT here during London session, which pushed us up. We then had one SMT here and then two here, pushing us both downwards. So that's why I didn't think we would rocket straight up for market open. Um, Also at this price, I wanted to see us explore a little lower than well this. So hit this 4 hour, hesitated for a little bit, really expanded quickly down here, touching equilibrium. That was our target for the day, was equilibrium. Um, Not for the day, but for this retrace. We're in a market where retraces are big and they are significant, right? We're not going to get any of this. We're not in a really expansive market where we're going to get these tiny retraces to here. That's not going to happen. Um, what happens on the lower time frames also happens on the higher time frames, and many times on the 1 minute you'll see candles that just go like it doesn't seem like it can really escape. I mean, you'll see some of them today on the lower time frames, but it's like one candle is bullish, extremely bullish. The next candle, bearish, extremely bearish. Right? It's like it looks like it's going somewhere, but it's really not, just because of the conditions that we are in. So if you take it down to the 15 minute, there's really not a whole lot. No inefficiencies, no nothing, just straight price action. Let me fix this so it shows up on the 15. Down to the 15, we can see here market opened. Once again, these SMTs here pushing us down. Tapped into this 4 hour right at this the macro, the 950 to 1010 macro. I personally played bullish here, and then market did a whole lot of nothing, kind of consolidated, and then ended up drawing down to equilibrium here. And then from here, kind of consolidated for a little bit. Well, consolidated. It didn't do much for a bit, and then lunch took it down one step lower. Again, creating this really high time frame SMT between NQ and ES, which is giving us the buy side pressure we have now and leading into tomorrow. So once lunch once lunch ended, PM session started, we just rallied. We had this little bit of a retrace here around 2 o'clock, but after that we just went bullish, taking out these relative equal highs here, right there. 5 minute, not much. Here's what I'm talking about, right here. Looks like we're expanding. What happens? Deep retrace, right? It's exactly what happened on the the daily candle today. So again, SMTs, market open, takes us down, consolidate around this 4 hour low, which in my mind, we retrace down to an array, tap into the array, lose all volume. What comes after low volume is an expansion. Just so happens that this right here was an expansion, or sorry, this right here had lasting power, right? That sounds really lame, stupid, and corny, but it was still having pressure on the market is a better way to put it. Takes us down to equilibrium here. Macros today didn't really do much. Hit equilibrium. I don't know if we didn't sweep anything, just rallied, and then like I mentioned, didn't really do much here. Barely took out this high. That was our target for lunch, was this high here, before we continued to play bearish. Again, taking out these relative equal lows, and then also having this SMT with this low down here. because ES apparently just ran. Well, no, not apparently. ES did run. It just ran away. And NQ is more reserved in that matter. So from here, market opened. Sorry, market's always open during New York session. But lunch ended, so PM session starts. We immediately, after taking this low on ES, actually, I don't think it's immediately, but you know what? There's no point in speculating. I can just pull it up. Right there, we took it at 1 o'clock, so not entirely immediately, but pretty soon after. SMT of those lows, I believe there was also an SMT of these lows, if I remember correctly. But from there, we started playing bullish, retraced for the macro. This is why we wait for the macro. There's a little bit on the 1 minute that I want to talk about with regards to the macro. But from here, again, no inefficiency. We just expanded, straight expanded, relative equal highs, kept going, and then hit decently above this high. It looks like we expanded 25% above it. Almost 25% above this expansion there. That would have been made a lot of sense for us to hit because that's just a usual guideline for how far something is going to expand above a certain high. And then we retrace to end the day there. So 1 minute time frame, not a whole lot more, but you can tell how messy price action is. I'll go over the trade that I took. Again, market drew down, took out this low during the macro. SMT of these lows here. I don't know why we're missing this 1003 candle, but we are. That's where I entered, and then price here, there. My profits were there, I think. As you can see, price just did not act nicely whatsoever, right? We just went into consolidation. You might be asking, well, price didn't look nice on NQ, right? We rallied up and then barely took out this low. But this low here made me confident that we'd expand or at least play bullish. And then also, if you look at ES at the time, $9.30. ES is playing extremely nicely, right? Expansion downwards, expansion upwards, one more expansion downwards for the macro. This right here was that sweep of liquidity you saw right before that SMT on the lower time frame. In fact, this is the SMT, I believe. And then my entry was 1003. And then as soon as I enter, we get this, right? This price action right here. It's a little unfortunate. Happens. Unfortunately, I did kind of crash out after that happened, and so I blew my account. But I didn't have much drawdown left in it anyways, so I had been in it for a while, and I was kind of upset with how my strategy or how I was treating the account. I was too fragile with it. So for many reasons, I full and was entirely ready to blow that account today. Just so happened that it was right there. And then, as you can tell, the draw was actually equilibrium because of the market conditions we're in on the higher time frame. This macro did not do anything. I'm trying to think if there's a way we could have been able to predict this. Sometimes it just happens. ES was playing extremely nicely until 1003, and then it went into this stuff. This macro consolidated for a little bit, and then when its direction, this macro here consolidated a little bit, retraced, and then when its expansion so if we waited for this and then caught the expansion, we'd be, destroyed when it came down here. But here, if we entered on this expansion, we would have been fine. But it didn't really expand, did it? Let's find any more macros. Boom, here, expansion upwards, consolidate this macro, actually expanded. So it seems like if any of the macro at any point has this bullshit right here, this type of price action where it's just tiny bodies but huge wicks, not gonna take it. This is really the only thing I can do at this point is be more picky with how I take my trades, especially with this price action that we're in. Um, if it's just being really really picky, well then I'm gonna be picky, right? You have to adapt to what the markets are giving you. You can't just expect and wait for it to go back to normal. So, like I mentioned, higher time frame, I think we're drawing up again because of this SMT right here and the higher time frame bias that we have on the daily time frame. Friday is tomorrow. I don't we shouldn't make this high by then, but um, yeah, at all. I mean, I fully expect tomorrow to be a bullish expansionary day. So we'll we'll see with a fresh account, which sucks because I was $200 away from passing it, but we're reset, so we have the full drawdown to play with. Um, Gonna not be as scared this time because I've already blown on my account, so I know what it's like, and really just looking for this expansion. Gonna be picky with my trades, especially in these conditions. I want to spend more time on the 15-second chart because if markets being picky, the 11-second chart, if markets being picky, meaning doing stuff like this, right, these tiny ass moves, I want to be able to find them, right, and trade on them. So more so looking for that smaller time frame stuff because I thought of this analogy today. If you're inside of a house, you don't want a sniper rifle, right? If you're fighting someone in the house, you don't want a sniper rifle. And that's what we're doing right now. We're inside of a house. In these markets, we're inside of a house. So I need a machine gun. I can't really use my sniper very well. Um, so machine gun it is, right? You just gotta, like I said, adapt to the markets. So yeah, this has been your market recap for October 9th, 2025.